Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
Hello and welcome back to Those Were the Days, the show where we look at classic TV. We are at the tail end of our female protagonist month, and we're going to go back in time a little ways, but I can't do this myself because, yes, we're everywhere the action's at. We're involved in this and that, but while I'm managing the band, I need people playing in the band. Like playing the guitar, it's Steven.
Hey, Joe, Scooby-Doo lunchboxes are going out of style. Do we have anything in the pipe to replace it with? Well, Bill, what if we just take all the Scooby-Doo actors, animation, and plots and make a new show? You know, this one for the girls. Joe, that's brilliant. Ship it.
On the drum set, it's Audie.
Those Were the Days podcast. Long cords and sometimes hats. Microphones and lots of laughs. Old TV that we watch. You're invited. Come, let's talk. Hurry, hurry. That's all I got.
And playing a mean tambourine, it's Amy.
Okay, I have two, and I couldn't decide between two of them, so you're going to get them both. We all know the phrase, blondes have more fun, but in this show, we learned that brunettes actively have less fun. Another one is, I know we're supposed to be talking about female protagonists, but what I really wanted to know from this show is, what would happen if Scooby got clean and Fred got steroids? That's to make up for every time I didn't have any intro.
There you go. There you go.
It's perfect.
So we are talking about the 1970 cartoon series from Hanna-Barbara, Josie and the Pussycats. So Josie and the Pussycats, I want to give some history on it, but first I want to know, did any of you watch it? Because I very much do remember watching this. I watched a lot of Hanna-Barbara stuff over the years, and this was one of them for certain. Steven,
Nope.
did you ever watch Josie and the Pussycats?
Not
No?
a one, never an episode in my life. Today was a first for me.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. Audie.
This is one of those where, like, I'm not sure if I watched it or not, like, as an episode, but just being in the Hanna-Barbera world so much growing up and watching everything, I'm sure I caught some of it at some point somewhere. Not enough for me to be like, oh yeah, I remember watching this regularly, but I know about it. And it's, you know, like we talked about pre-show, there was the live action movie and just all the stuff they've done since with it and stuff. It's like, I knew about it. I always knew about it.
Amy, how about you?
Yeah, I'm basically with Audie on this one. Like, I can't specifically say, like, yeah, I watched Josie and the Pussycats, but like I had to have. Surely I must have, in the way that we watched what was on.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So Josie and the Pussycats is a 1970-71 television series. It was created for Saturday morning cartoons by Hanna-Barbera and created by Don DeCarlo. There were 16 episodes made that ran on CBS. And then they made a second series in 1972 where they reconceptualized it all into Josie and the Pussycats in Outer Space.
Sure.
Made another 16 episodes, again on CBS. And then those episodes for the next couple of years bounced around between CBS, NBC, and ABC. Played on all of them on Saturday mornings at one point or another. We specifically watched an episode from the first season, which is kind of the more well-known version of Josie and the Pussycats. It centers around a band, Josie, Valerie, and Melody, and their manager, Alexander, his sister, Alexandra, and their roadie, Alan. Oh, and Alexandra's cat, Sebastian. So this started life as a comic in the Archie Comics world. And it was, let's see, initially published as She's Josie, and then Josie was just a teen humor comic. Don DeCarlo created it for Archie Comics. First published in 1963, ran regularly through 1982. So it ran for 19 years. But it was during, it was in late 69 or so that Hanna-Barbera wanted to make another cartoon. They wanted to capitalize on the Archie craze because the Archies had their number one hit, Sugar Sugar.
Mm.
Oh,
Mm.
So they wanted to do something with that. Well, they couldn't get Archie, but they ended up licensing Josie. And the comic kind of got reworked a little bit into what they made in the show. It was reading about it, it was kind of tough to it was sort of a chicken and egg thing. Like Josie existed, but Josie and the Pussycats in the form that Hanna-Barbera were doing wasn't exactly the same thing as the comic, but then the comic kind of got melded into what the show was.
Sure.
What?
They changed one of the characters because originally the characters were Josie, Melody, and I think the third member was Pepper. And what had happened was while they were casting for the series and they were doing the music part of things, the guy that was heading that up had he had gotten what is her name, Patrice Halloway, to do the singing voice for one of the characters, Valerie Brown, or became Valerie Brown. Well, that character didn't exist in the comic, and they were like, we'll just make that the character instead. And Valerie Brown became the first African American female character, lead character on a Saturday morning cartoon.
How about
One
that?
year after,
Yeah.
there was an African American drummer in, was it the Hardy Boys? The year before that, that was the first character, but she was the first female character.
Did every mystery themed show have a band at some point? Like
Pretty much.
the Hardy Boys had a drummer? Hold on, something has just happened in my brain. And I need
It
to
was
go.
the 60s and 70s, man.
This is a
Yeah.
weird. So wait a minute. Okay.
Everybody made an album at some point.
Well,
yeah.
so
So,
in the 80s,
Archie.
in
wait.
the 80s, all the cartoons were
Hold on. You just.
No.
Can't. I need to understand the Archies.
Okay,
Because I
was
did
getting
not
there.
realize the Archies was a band based on Archie comics. Because
Yeah.
Sugar Sugar is a popular song.
Yeah,
But
it was a
it's-
number one hit.
So, like, on the same, like, hey, hey, we're the monkeys, is
Mhm.
the
In that
Archies
same,
Yeah.
and the Pussycats and and the Hardy Boys. All right, I'm sorry. I just needed to unscramble
Yeah, no, we
what
need
you
to work it
scrambled.
out.
no,
It's okay.
Yeah.
we've talked a lot about like 80s cartoons were just toy commercials,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
60s and 70s cartoons were just they had to cross promote those, so it was music.
They
was how
sold
they did it.
albums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and Sugar Sugar being literally a Billboard number one hit,
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
and they wanted to reproduce that, and they never got to that level with Josie and the Pussycats. Like it just, their songs didn't chart as high, but they put the songs out. They were on the radio. Like you could get the album. It was I think it was Motown, or at
Hey.
least I can't remember now. But
Well, that makes sense because there was a lot of Jackson 5 in the songs of this show tonight. So, but I guess
Mhm.
I'll need to go hunt me down some 7-inches, is what it sounds like.
kind of, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, so it was the 68-69 television season. There was a Saturday morning cartoon, The Archie Show, and it was based on the Archie comics. Big success. They had their song, so Hanna-Barbera was like, well, let's make that. But because it's Hanna-Barbera, they got to do it on the cheap, which meant, and that was part of why Valerie kept, or they altered the comic to fit the show, because they had already started production before somebody told them, like, hey, by the way, Pepper isn't African American. They're like, but we've kind of already started. We're down that road already. And they're like, you know what? We'll just
We're
get
gonna
rid of
change your
Pepper.
name though, because that is a bridge too far.
Yeah.
I
And
love
we'll go with
Hanna-Barbera's like,
We'll leave her
no one will
last name
notice.
is Brown, but we
Right.
are for sure we cannot go down this road.
Right.
Well, and on top of that, like they reused, I mean, Alex in this is Shaggy. Alan
yeah.
is just Fred.
Mhm.
It's,
Yeah.
Like they
all
just
right, listen,
reused.
he's Shaggy that got clean.
Right? Yeah.
It kind of is, yeah.
He no longer hears the talking dog.
Right.
He can drive. He's doing great.
He keeps the glasses on because you can't get rid of the bags under your
Yeah,
eyes.
no,
Yeah.
that's not
No,
going
no,
away.
no.
They're bloodshot forever.
Yeah.
Don Messick does the voice of Sebastian the cat, who also was the voice of Scooby-Doo. So
And
Yeah.
Muttley.
he's back doing another animal. And Muttley. Yep.
From the era of animals that laugh like that.
Right.
Right. Sebastian's great because like he's basically there to pick locks. Like that's
Yeah.
his whole
Mhm.
thing is he can use his claws to pick locks.
Hey, he was a bloodhound in this one.
Also
Yeah.
vastly different from the comic book.
Yeah.
Where in the comic book, Sebastian is a reincarnated soul of one of Alexandra's ancestors because she's a witch.
Let's
Mhm.
go. You can tell she's a witch because she's got
Yep.
black hair with the white stripe in it.
Mhm.
Obviously.
Obviously.
They just completely cut all that out for the show.
But they did not make her look less witchy.
No, they did not.
No.
But the show basically followed a very standard formula, and the episode that we watched followed that formula to a T. We got a cold open of something happening. So the brief rundown of this episode is during a trip to England, the gang meets Professor Isaac Belfour, who has created an invisibility potion. He's being pursued by his former lab assistant, Mr. X, who stole the potion and used it on himself to embark on a life of crime. And now he's trying to capture Professor Belfour, keep him from developing an antidote to the potion that would restore Mr. X to a visible state. And I do like loosely based on H.G. Wells' The Invisible Man.
Mhm. Yeah, loosely.
Yeah.
I mean,
In that
in
we
that there's
only
an
got the
invisible
concept.
man.
Right.
I loved watching this with my wife because when Mr. X is visible, she was like, "That guy looks like he's got some sort of liver condition because he's like olive green."
I was thinking like that, because it at first it seemed like invisibility, like when they set it up, right? Like you think that he's gonna like accidentally become invisible,
Yes.
and you're just like, man, this will do him a favor. Like
Yeah.
he's better off. I had a lot of questions about some of the choices he made, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Well, so we open up with just the classic, he's invisible, so there's just footprints. He only leaves
Mhm.
Love
footprints when
that.
he's invisible, though.
Yeah. Let's
Right.
not be ridiculous.
One of my all-time favorite tropes ever. So
Everybody
he walks up to the lab, right? And of course, it's a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. They have to read the sign.
Mhm.
Which I
Goes
appreciate
in-
that. If you're a little guy who can't read,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
you
Yeah.
appreciate that.
So he goes into the lab where Professor Balfour is, and the door opens up, and he just goes, "It's you!" and runs away. Just so happens to be that Josie and the band are in a double-decker bus driving around London town.
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're in London, you're in a double-decker bus. These are the
Shaggy
rules.
got clean and got a CDL.
And now can drive in England. They're lost because Melody is giving directions from her map, which is a star map.
Oh boy,
She's
poor
the
Melody.
blondest.
Yeah.
I love that
Just-
it was an actual star map. Like
Yeah.
not a map of the stars like celebrities, a
Right,
map
right.
of the
No,
actual
this is not
stars.
an LA like star map. This is
Yeah.
And I still have to say I appreciate the double decker bus because they're in England. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
They wouldn't just be in a white panel van. Like, that's ridiculous.
it didn't hit me until like the end credits in their regular van. I was like, oh wait, they were in it. That's why they were in the double decker.
I actually
Mhm,
didn't know
mhm.
either. I thought they might have been in Puddletown, Michigan, for all I knew. I was totally lost until I
You
saw the
couldn't- you-
castle and everything. I was like, wait.
Yeah, you couldn't tell by the great accents.
Yeah, I guess all the scientists and evil villains are British in my head, so I really just didn't think much
There you
of
go.
it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
So they're lost, and as they're driving by, Professor Balfour just jumps into their bus, and we see the Invisible Man get into a car with two henchmen. It's like, follow that bus, and then we get the opening credits
Mhm.
and the song. And the
Yeah.
reason that the show exists is to have this theme song.
Right.
Is really what it is. It is one of the catchiest theme songs ever.
It's good.
Like
It is.
it's in your
Mhm.
head and it just lives there forever.
Yeah.
And for the last week, it's been popping in and out of my head at random times.
It's the
Uh,
Hanna-Barbera knew how to make a theme song because Scooby Dooby
They
Doo,
really
where
did.
are you?
Mhm.
Like that one's in your head forever. This one's in your head forever. I mean, they just knew with their big
Yep.
stuff how to make it happen.
I used to
There was.
I used to
Oh, go
nanny
ahead.
for a little girl, and her favorite thing was to watch the Boomerang channel on cable,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is just all the Hanna-Barbera
Right.
like, and so she's watching stuff that like, you know, is 35 years old, you know, and it's just every theme song is just in your head forever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
knew what they were doing.
Hanna-Barbera is such a
Um,
throw spaghetti at the wall and just see what
Mhm.
sticks kind of company.
Yeah.
We have so many characters thanks to them just being like, I don't know, 4 episodes of Magilla Gorilla, 8 episodes of Top Cat. You know,
Yep.
it's
Let's
just
go.
they don't even
Um,
Some
care.
takes off, maybe we'll get
And
some
then let's
more.
throw them all into a racing show for
Yeah,
a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
we'll cross over. Then we'll go to space. It's just
Mhm.
We'll do the same
nuts.
formula for 8 different shows. We'll just
Yes.
change the color palette and like
Yep.
1 or 2 things. Change the animal. It's a dog here. It's a cat here. It's a talking dune buggy for some reason.
It's
Whatever.
just ADD heaven. You're just like everywhere. No
Yeah.
structure.
So come back from the credits and they're on the bus. But now Alex knows where he's going, apparently, because they have a show in Puddletown. And it's revealed that Professor Isaac is on the bus, and we get a flashback to him recounting like why he's on the bus. And I loved it because Mr. X, who just totally looks like a completely normal lab assistant and not at all like an
Yeah.
evil criminal.
No.
Like he looks like Mr. Hyde
Yes.
is who he
does.
is.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah.
Mr. Hyde.
He needs to learn some
Um,
personal space because he was just hovering all over.
He
Yeah, it
was
Alice.
in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the
So
cutest
he-
cartoon mouse ever
Yes.
gets experimented
Mhm.
on.
Oh yeah.
They tested the formula on a mouse. It
The
disappeared.
cutest mouse.
So Mr. X decides that he's going to sneak back in later and drink all the formula, turn himself invisible, and start a life of crime. Again,
'Cause
this
that's
is
what you do.
perfectly logical. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's
but
a
he didn't even
A
do
to
that
B to C.
well. What did he have to hang around for? Just disappear to somewhere. What are you doing?
Well, so the reason he's going after Dr. Isaac, though, is because he knows that Dr. Isaac has a formula for an antidote that will make him visible again.
Yeah, but
We
catch
can't
me if
have
you
that.
can, boss. Like I'm invisible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right?
Well,
No,
you're gonna follow the footprints, obviously. It's not that hard.
that's the side effect. The side effect
He's
of the
leaving
invisibility is
footprints
you
in
leave
the
footprints.
70s shag carpet like you wouldn't believe.
So the kids decide, all right, we'll help you out. We'll hold on to your formula, and then we can take it to the cops. But after our show, we have a concert first,
Right.
and they're being
Priorities.
followed by Mr. X. So they get to their venue in Puddletown, and Mr. X says, "I'll put on bandages and gloves so I can blend in with you," to his henchman. Which, you're invisible,
What are you doing?
Chief. Like
Yeah.
you can blend into anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. And you're not gonna blend in with bandages.
Right?
Yeah.
Going in there
Like
looking
I
like
get
the
it's
mummy.
the iconic visual.
Uh-huh.
I get that. But come on, man.
Hey, did y'all
Also,
know?
just only the one set of clothes also became invisible when he drank the potion.
Yes.
Sure. We'll go with
That's the other
that.
good part.
Puddletown's an actual
Um,
place, by the way, over in the UK. You could visit
Fantastic.
Puddletown if you wanted.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm sure it looks just like this too.
It's not far, Audie. It's not far off. There's a street
So-
that I swear if they just duplicated it 8 times, they could run down it and it'd be the same thing.
So Josie and the band have a gig. They've got to play because every episode they have a concert somewhere they're doing, and they're going to do their show and then afterwards go to the cops. So Dr. Isaac is hanging out with them. Alexandra, in her constant quest to make Josie look bad, has to try and mess with something because she's got to look better to Alan
Right.
than Josie.
Man.
And it never works. It never.
No.
Every scheme, everything she tries backfires, and that's when that happens, and then Mr. X just says, well, I'm going to take all of these bandages that I just put on and gloves off and become completely invisible and mess with the show. You could have done
Could
that in
have
the first
saved
place.
such a
Mhm.
step. This is what I'm talking about. This is just poor planning.
It really is.
I feel like he
There's
just
this-
wanted to order a drink, and he couldn't order a drink if he was completely invisible.
Right. That's the thing, right? This club had a 2-drink minimum.
Yeah.
So scuffle happens. The kids think they capture Mr. X, but it's actually Alexandra, who pops her head out from underneath the tablecloth before Alex can whack her over the head with a guitar.
Mhm.
But they notice that Dr. Balfour is gone. Mr. X has taken him. So now it's time to go to the constabulary.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to see the cops. But Mr. X has taken Professor Balfour to a castle. Why again does he need a life of crime if he's already got a castle?
Well, it's the UK. They all have castles.
Yeah,
there,
it's pretty
is
normal.
my understanding. You can't go 30 feet without tripping over a castle.
So
My
he
understanding.
puts him in the truth machine chair that he
Just
has
an electric
developed.
chair.
Yes.
Wired to get you to tell the truth.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where he will get the information for the antidote formula. So the kids go to the constabulary, and at some point, the henchmen left the castle and went to the one precinct that happened to be where they were going to go. I got there ahead of time, bound and gagged the constable, and then dressed in their uniform. So when the kids show up to tell them about this wild, outlandish thing, of course, but like the ruse is figured out right away because Sebastian finds the actual constable. They didn't hide him very well. They just put him
Right.
behind.
No,
a net.
yeah.
They didn't have time. Like they
Yeah.
were in a race to get to this constabulary.
And so once again, and only 3 of them went inside. It was Alex, Alexandra, and Melody that went inside. Alan, Valerie, and Josie are all sitting out in the bus because
Mhm.
reasons. And so what ends up happening is the 3 kids inside the precinct, they get kidnapped and taken off in a paddy wagon with Sebastian. And now you've got Alan, Josie, and Valerie. They're like, all right, we'll go after them. But the bus won't start.
Okay.
But it's parked on a hill. So they're like, well, we can just push start it.
Right.
So they do. So Valerie and Alan get behind, push start the bus. Now the brakes don't work.
Oh no, the brakes don't work. That's some
Meanwhile,
acting.
oh yeah, oh, fine acting there. Meanwhile, in the paddy wagon, Alexandra is transcribing the formula onto Alan's foot.
Right.
No, yeah.
Because that's the best place to keep it.
This-
Right, exactly.
They'll
Look,
never find
now,
it.
if that they'll never find it there, and you'll never be able to read it again because if that was my foot,
Oh no.
once that goes
Mhm.
back in the shoe, that's just all that ink is running right off because I'm sweating.
Well, fun fact: there's 2 places on your body that sweat the most: your armpits and
Mhm.
your feet. And your feet have your armpits
Yeah.
beat. They have the most sweat glands of any part of your body. Good to know. Don't write stuff there. It's gonna come
Yeah.
off,
Yeah.
especially on the sole of the foot. What are we even
Oh.
doing?
I don't know.
I
Gosh.
don't know,
So
man.
then she Melody, the one smart thing Melody does, like intentionally smart in the entire episode, is to ask what are we going to do with this copy of it? And Alexandra says, well, they can't find it if I eat it, and just eats
Right.
the formula. Sure, why not? Then tells Sebastian, hey, sneak out and tell them where they're taking us, which how would Sebastian know? Doesn't matter. Cut back to the other kids, and Valerie has fixed the brakes on the bus.
Oh
Because
yeah.
that's Valerie's thing. She is mechanically inclined. She fixes everything all the time, every episode.
I mean, you
just
got to
don't
be
have
if
to
you're on a
okay.
low budget tour.
Right.
So she fixes the bus. They're driving along, and they find Sebastian, and now he's going to lead them to where the kids are because he's apparently a bloodhound cat as well.
Of course.
It works.
That's not
Whatever.
how
He just
cats-
hangs off the front of the bus. No, that's not.
I
how
mean, he
cats
loves it. Because
Mhm.
at one point they say something about like, I don't think he enjoys being a dog, and that is the happiest cat in the
Yes.
Mhm.
entire world. on that shelf in the front of the bus.
So Melody ends up in the truth machine chair. She's the first one that gets put into that, and promptly breaks it with her dumb answers to the questions.
Incredible
Because
stuff.
the only
Yeah.
formula she knows is the recipe for a peanut butter omelet.
Peanut butter omelet.
Yeah. Which, if you'd asked me 2 years ago if that sounded good, I would have said, no, that sounds like an abomination. And then I had a peanut butter and scrambled egg sandwich. And I said, you know what? Okay.
I was watching a cooking show, Jamie Oliver, where he has celebrities come cook, and the celebrity was talking about how they don't really cook, and the best thing that they made was like an omelet that they just put like some broken up hamburger in. I was like, no, are you kidding me? A cheeseburger omelet sounds incredible.
That sounds pretty
Let's
good.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So Melody breaks the truth machine chair, and then the three of them get away, and they backtrack back to the lab where they find the remainder of the invisibility potion, and they decide, Alexander's like, we'll just drink this and walk out. Brilliant. Except for one fatal flaw. There
Mhm.
isn't enough. They split it in thirds, and there's not enough for them to turn completely invisible. Instead,
Right.
Alexandra's legs turn invisible.
Yeah.
Melody's middle turns invisible,
Well, yep.
and Alex just becomes transparent.
Yeah.
And there's
Halfway
Translucent.
invisible.
there are two fatal flaws to this plan, but one of them didn't come to fruition, thankfully. The other one is
Mhm.
if they make Alex invisible, they will not be able to read his foot.
Well,
Right.
it kind of happens.
Kinda.
Right.
Yeah.
But still,
They
if
got
he had
lucky.
been invisible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got lucky. It wasn't intentionally a good idea.
So they eventually, Alexander decides she's going to mix up the antidote, but she can't quite read Alex's foot. So she's just going to wing it for the last ingredient because
Science loves
Mhm.
winging it.
Mhm,
Chemistry.
exactly.
Yeah.
Chemistry.
Okay,
loves
but
winging
here's the
it.
best part. All right. Because she doesn't just, she legit like closes her eyes. Like it's not even like, let me see. Okay, we'll try this one. No, she closes her eyes and like waves it over a rack of test tubes and then just picks one.
And then has Alex drink it, which it makes him really brave.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Brave
turn
for
him
Right.
invisible,
For
but makes him
10
really brave for
seconds.
10 seconds. Yep. Then it wears off.
It's a D&D potion.
Yeah,
So
one round.
the rest of the kids make their way to the castle, and they go inside, and they're
Which-
wandering around trying to find them.
I have to say, my favorite line was right here as they're walking in the castle, and Alan's like, keep a sharp eye out for the invisible man. And I'm like, what? And then without missing a beat, Melody says exactly what I'm thinking. Or Valerie says exactly what I'm thinking. Just how do you keep an eye out for an invisible man?
Right?
Well, his footprints, of course. We'll see
It
him
makes
through
perfect
it.
sense to me. I mean, look,
Well,
there,
we know
there are a
that.
lot of bad decisions made here because they wander around and they can't find them. The other kids are wandering around trying to keep away from the crooks. The crooks are looking for them, and Josie just decides, we're in a room. Maybe this opens a secret panel, and just pull a lever.
Just pull a lever.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it kind of works because it opens a trap door where the other three were standing, which then puts them all in the same room together. The problem is there's no way out of that room, and Mr. X and his goons are able to capture them and put them in a bunch of random torture devices. There's
Right.
like an Iron Maiden.
I
and
mean,
a
it's a
rack,
castle, obviously. Come on, Travis.
except for Sebastian.
Obviously.
Sebastian doesn't get captured so that he can pick the lock of the stocks that Alexandra is in. Gets them out. So now their plan is, and I love this because again, makes perfect logical sense. Valerie is going to motorize the suit of armor in the room to use that to capture Mr. X,
Right.
while the rest of them go looking for Professor Balfour. Flawless,
Sure.
flawless plan.
Mhm.
Let's
So
go.
she uses a vacuum cleaner motor to motorize
Yeah.
and basically make the suit of armor robotic.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I think that's how
Um,
Boston Dynamics does it.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're using a Dyson motor at least.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
did watch Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey again recently, and they built those robots out of like dustbusters
Yeah.
and stuff. So
I
That's
think
fair.
that is why, like, this, I mean, because it happened a lot
yeah,
in old shows. And I did, because I mean, my dad is of the junk keeper variety. And
Mhm.
so I did go down the basement and think that I could build a robot. Like,
Yeah.
if you just put enough
Oh,
parts
absolutely.
together, it'll
Mhm.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have to all fit together. You just kind of hammer them into place, and
I
everything's good.
think I even had like a
Um,
circuit board. Like, yeah, I was good to go.
I was convinced I could take a VHS VCR apart and turn it into a time machine.
Yeah. And now
mean,
it is.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
So instead of testing to make sure that it works fine, Alexandra is just like, no, I'll run the thing. She's done nothing to this point, but now she's going to run the suit of armor from the remote control, and it works just about how you would expect. Which is it
Yeah.
walks into the other room and then points back at the kids as pretty much a stool pigeon and leads Mr. X and his goons right in there.
That's
Right.
why you can't
Um,
trust the AI, man.
Nope. And we basically needed that because we're at that point in the show's formula where it's time for a chase and a song.
Yeah, we got to run down
Yeah.
an
Oh,
endless
yeah.
hallway, obviously.
And it is the Hanna-Barbera playbook of just
Mhm.
hilarity ensues and all sorts of zany gags as the song plays.
Lots of sound effects.
which-
That song
Mhm.
basically ripped off ABC's the ABC song with the
Mhm.
Jackson 5. Do
Yeah.
do do. You know, the
Yep.
whole
Mhm.
deal.
Yep.
Like you could hear it in
Oh,
the
yeah.
undertones. Wasn't even trying to pretend.
Nope.
No.
But it ends with Mr. X getting captured and Isaac Balfour being rescued. And then he mixes up his antidote,
Mhm.
and Alexandra's like, I'll make him drink it. He goes, you don't drink it, because why would you drink the antidote for the thing he
Obviously.
dry
Yeah.
in the first place?
Yeah,
Right.
don't be
Yeah.
ridiculous.
You spray it on him.
Okay, but that does make sense if you're trying to capture an invisible person that you can't
Mhm.
find,
Yeah.
because then you just put it in the sprinkler and you're good.
Yeah, you
Like,
crop dust
so
the
that does
area.
make more sense.
It
Mhm.
does.
But yeah.
So he's captured, he's revealed, and then the constable says, I'm going to make him disappear now in jail, and takes him away.
Yeah, thanks,
Ha-ha.
Dad. Good one.
Yep. Also, totally not Casey Kasem doing the voice of the constable at all.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't have a distinctive voice at all. It's like
No.
it's the Mark Hamill thing, right?
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah,
two
yeah.
voices, and you
Mhm.
know both of them are him.
Right.
Yes. I just love that, like, he is the voice of Alex, and he's just doing the exact same voice as Shaggy, and it's fine.
Oh
It's fine.
yeah, if he threw a
Um,
zoinks in there, you just
Yeah,
Right.
you just
No.
roll with it.
dead
Be like, yep.
giveaway.
They couldn't
We
even
get-
swap him to like the other character, right? Like
He couldn't do the voice of Alan.
Mhm.
like no. Still just has to be the one.
Yeah,
that
gotta be the
looks
one that
like
looks almost
Shaggy.
exactly like Shaggy in different
But
clothes.
Shaggy went straight.
Hey,
Shaggy got
Casey,
clean.
Can you do a beatnik like again? Don't change a lot. Just just give me that
Like
beatnik
still,
voice you
yeah.
do.
Yeah, because this was running concurrently with Scooby Doo. Like, they were making these at the
Yeah,
same time.
He
so-
was in the booth and they were like, Casey,
Mhm.
you got another hour? We just need some lines. Just help
It'll
me
be
out.
the countdown in like 2 hours for
Yeah.
sure.
We had to have one last gag, which is Alexandra mixing up another batch of potion of some sort to try and use that on Alan to make Alan like him or her rather than Josie.
Okay, and then it's so good because Josie's like handing him a different green drink.
Right.
Yes.
This is not the
Um,
scenario to have Mountain Dew.
No, no, it is not. But Alexandra ends up spilling that on the suit of armor, which then becomes infatuated with her and is kissing her hand and like wooing her. And
Yeah.
that's everyone laughs, and that's the end of the episode. Go to commercial, come back for end credits and a revisit of the theme song.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what? 22-minute episode, 5 of those minutes are the theme song playing twice.
Yeah.
Another 3 minutes is the other song. Yep, it's a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nailed it.
And that is it's literally every episode of Josie and the Pussycats is this. Basically just swap out location and whoever Mr. X happens to be for that episode. Whichever Hanna-Barbera stock villain they're using for that one. And that's Josie and the Pussycats, but it's still a lot of fun, and the interesting thing is like how long it's lasted in the public image, the public eye, because 16 episodes of this were made, and then they do a second run of 16 episodes, but they change it up and go to space.
Mm-hmm.
That was 1972, 73. The live action movie was 2001. It was 30 years later that it was still known enough to make a live action like Hollywood movie. Which, anybody see that? Steven, I think you mentioned it.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Audie, Amy, did either of you watch that movie?
No.
What?
So it came out while I was working in the video store, so it ran on a rotation for quite a while. So I've seen it more times than I would care to count. It's not that bad. It's pretty, like, it's good in a sort of a self-aware way.
It knows what it's
I will say
doing.
that.
It's not
Yeah.
like trying to be serious. It knows it's a Josie and
not
the
at all.
Pussycats movie, which is why it works. And it's got Rosario Dawson in it,
Right.
and
Yep.
Rachel Lee Cook and Parker Posey, and I think Alan Cummings in it too, along with
Yes,
Spice
he is.
World. Do a double feature, Spice
Yeah.
World and Josie and the Pussycats together, and you've got yourself a good afternoon.
Had the biggest
Um,
crush on Rachel Lee Cook back in the day. So.
Well then, hey, looks like time for a revisit.
It's funny. I did have to look at it too, and I was like 2001, and it was like a couple years before Rosario Dawson was in Rent, because I was like,
Oh,
Mhm.
wait, how did we knew she could sing? Was this before or after? And this was definitely before Rent, and then after
Yeah.
Rent.
and
Definitely
Tara
knew it for her.
Reid plays Melody, which is
Mhm.
just excellent casting.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
inspired
Perfect.
casting.
That was
Um,
a great movie.
So the longest lasting thing for this cartoon though is absolutely that theme song. And there was an album that I bought back in the 90s, Saturday Morning Cartoons Greatest Hits.
I've just
think I may
discovered
have-
this album exists. And
I think
unfortunately,
I've talked about this before or not, I'm not sure, but
very little is available digitally now.
it's tough to find. I do
There's like
have
5 songs,
a
6
copy
songs
of
that
it
are
somewhere.
fine.
But it had Juliana Hatfield doing Josie and the Pussycats, Juliana Hatfield and Tanya Donnelly. But there were also Matthew Sweet doing a cover of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? You had Sugar Sugars on there. Sponge, I don't know if any of you remember the band Sponge, but they did a cover of Go Speed Racer Go.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
it's
A
really
Stigma
good.
just mentioned that in the chat.
Liz Phair doing the Tra La La song, One Banana, Two Banana from the Banana Splits. Like, this
Okay.
album is
This album
incredible.
is so
Underdog.
good.
Butthole Surfers doing a cover of Underdog.
That
What?
one is
Sublime.
available on
Wow.
Spotify.
Yeah. You've got the Ramones doing the old 60s Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, they
theme.
were
That's
good.
the one
Yeah.
You've heard that.
Yeah.
The Reverend Horton Heat, his
Yeah.
band doing the theme to Johnny Quest and
Ooh.
Stop That Pigeon from Dastardly and Muttley and their Flying Machines.
Oh my gosh.
Dang.
Sublime
The Toadies
is
are on
The
here.
Toadies. Yeah.
Collective
this is
Soul. Yes, please.
incredible
Wow.
That puts a pin in it.
Yeah, it does.
It's so good. It's such a good album, and it's my favorite version of Josie and the Pussycats is Juliana Hatfield. I wore this CD out listening to it. I listen to it all the time. So definitely worth, if you can find any of the songs you can find off of it, are worth.
There
listening
appears to be a YouTube video
Oh, okay.
that has most. I mean,
maybe
Yes,
maybe we'll
Spotify
put
is
that in the show
missing
notes.
most of these.
It is.
Yeah, it's a good mix of genres too, because Face to Face
Oh,
is
yeah.
on here, and the
Yep.
Ramones, and then you got like, other people that are more poppy.
The Violent Femmes doing Eep Op Ork Ah
No.
come on.
Oh,
Like,
man.
it's so good. Sublime does Hong Kong Fooey.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, it's real good.
Loved Hong Kong Fooey.
So definitely, if you can find that, check that out. But now that we've talked about it a little bit, these episodes are all available on Hulu. Amy, would you watch more Josie and the Pussycats, or is this kind of one
Yeah.
where you're like, yeah,
No, I mean, because it's like, it's Scooby Doo for girls. Like, it's the same thing. Like, I would put it
Mhm.
on for sure. I mean, it's not that many episodes. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
I'd watch it. It's real good. I do really enjoy the characters an awful lot. Like Alexandra, man, so
Mhm.
good. I love her a lot. And as we learned, brunettes have no fun whatsoever. And I love that. It's great. No, I had a fun time. I like
Audie, how about you?
I mean, I probably put it on the background. It was funny though, reading the Wikipedia and like seeing the description of every episode. I was like, "Yep, that's exactly what I just watched.
Mhm.
Exactly."
Mhm.
So,
Just constant. Steven, how about you?
I loved it. I watched it with my kid and my wife, and it was really fun to watch it with them both. Because my son is just like, what is even happening in this show? You know? And then Stephanie's calling out Mr. Jaundice, Mr. X with his
Yeah.
yellow green face. It was just a joy. Like, I don't know that I would sit down and watch it on the couch intentionally. Like, boy, I can't wait to see what happens next. But I could totally
Sure.
like throw it on the iPad in the corner while I'm working on something. Like it definitely has that background vibe. It doesn't need my attention, but if I can give it some attention, that'd be fun. I think I'd have a good time.
Yeah, Hanna-Barbera cartoons were really good for that.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
they're so formulaic, you don't have to really pay attention to what's going on. You can just sort of look over and chuckle
You
every
get the
once in a
vibe.
while.
You watch
Mhm.
the cold open and you're like, got it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do like, so initially, this was broadcast with a laugh track. A lot of Hanna-Barbera stuff
yeah,
was
yeah,
at the
yeah.
time.
I
Yeah.
love Hanna-Barbera stuff with a laugh track. Like
And-
normally I find laugh tracks are not good. Like
Mhm.
normally. But cartoons with a laugh track all day.
Yeah, they're
Mhm.
All
good.
day.
And
I love that.
There's a
They
charm
have
to it.
subsequently they've taken it out of a lot of the stuff now. So you might be able to find it here and there, stuff with the laugh track. But I always thought that was interesting how Hanna-Barbera did that too.
Love it.
Yeah. I do want the
but yeah,
breakfast
that's-
cereal if I could find one, because I know there was one and I would eat it.
Oh.
Whatever it is.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Josie and the Pussycats. That ends our female protagonists month of shows. We did get some feedback, by the way,
Sweet.
and it was from a Stigma who mentions the Saturday morning cartoons on Blue Sky. Says, even though this is my first time watching an episode of Josie and the Pussycats, I've been a fan of the live action movie for years. I also own a copy of an album that contains a cool cover to their theme. And I love the album art for that CD as well. If you check it out on Blue Sky, you'll see it. It's very just crazy looking. Feels like something out of the 90s for sure.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
So
Mhm.
thank you, Astigma, for the feedback. If you want to send us feedback, you can do that. thosedayshow.bsky.social on the Blue Sky. Those were the days show at gmail.com. I don't know if we had any emails this week.
We did not have emails this week,
Nope.
but I'm waiting
Okay.
patiently. Don't break my heart.
And
Send me an email.
there's also voicecast.app/those were the days, I believe is what it is. You can leave us those days show, where you can leave us a voice message. If you
We're
wanna
so
do
good
that.
at
We don't have any
branding. We're
voice
just
messages
like,
yet.
yeah, it's different names everywhere.
the thing.
So easy.
Well, we don't have choices sometimes.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you don't. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's true. So that wraps up our month-long female protagonist thing. Audie, where are you taking us next? Did we decide?
Do we know? We
Do
haven't
we
decided.
know?
We
We
didn't even
didn't-
discuss it.
Yeah.
We haven't talked
Literally
about it.
did
I
not
have no
discuss
idea.
it.
Yeah, I hit go live tonight and I was like, oh yeah, I was gonna ask about that before we started recording.
No, we literally at no point
I know
decided
we
what
talked
we were
about
gonna do.
2 ideas that we were throwing around. So I guess we can choose now which one we want to go with next.
Were we talking about a commercial special? Was that in our
We were-
ideas?
We talked about commercials and we talked about on location episodes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we could kind of do like a roundup of those. I think as like one sort of special maybe of talking about shows that went on location because everybody apparently went to Hawaii.
Everybody.
Had
And
Yep.
Disney World. If you were an ABC show, you went to Disney World.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Well, dear listener, welcome to the production meeting. So the end of the
Behind the
month,
scenes is no longer behind the scenes.
the end of
Right.
the month, we're talking about taking a brief show hiatus for about a month. So how long do we have before that occurs? We got like 3 weeks, right? So that's not a full season. So we
Correct.
gotta do a few things. Why don't we go on location for a couple weeks, and then we do a commercial special to round us out.
All right.
All right.
That sounds good.
All right.
That sounds good.
You don't have to
We'll
decide
figure
now,
that
Audie,
out.
but we'll figure out where we're going on location next.
Okay.
Like this is how you get things done.
Yeah.
We're doing it
Executive
live.
decisions.
You're welcome.
All right.
So good.
Well, I gotta say that this month of shows has been a lot of fun because I did get to revisit, like getting to revisit Golden Girls is always a treat. But
Mhm.
going back and watching some old Hanna-Barbera, checking out stuff that I remembered watching, and seeing like the progressive nature of some of these shows. I mean, Clarissa Explains It All was a really, really well put together show that I remember watching as a kid. So this has been a fun one, and I can't wait to see where we go on location next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should be a good time.
Me either.
Check the show notes, everybody. We'll have it in
Yeah,
there.
We'll explore it all together. But until then, for a stigma in the chat, for Amy, for Audie, for Steven, let's go run down a hallway with the same background rotating for the next 15 minutes while a pop song plays.